to my channel. My name is Emma, if you haven't been here before, and I'm an artist. You might tell by what's behind me. I would love to welcome you here if you've never been here before. It's so great to have you. I hope you'll stick around and enjoy what my offering is here. It's all about peace and tranquility and some creativity and some arty things and just creating a simple life, loving what we've got around us, you know, making the most of everything, making the most of every day, and just trying to be kind of quiet and peaceful in a world that's going faster and faster. So I'm very lucky. I get to live in a beautiful part of the countryside. I'm in Cumbria, which is kind of the lake, what people call the Lake District here in the northwest of England in the UK. If you're somewhere else in the world, hello, welcome. Let me know where you are, especially if you've just joined me here. Just let me know where you are and say hello. It's lovely to get comments from you. I do appreciate that very much, and I love the things we get to talk about. It's just so lovely what you share with me and what I share with you. It's what it's all about, because we are humans sharing this journey together at this time, and it's just fantastic to connect with you. So this morning was a beautiful morning. I don't know where you are and what you're doing, but I get to go out in the morning because I have to get the animals up some mornings. Some days my husband does it, and today he's away on a bushcraft course in the northeast of England, learning to do sort of forest school skill type things, which is very exciting. And I went out to get, we've got 4 chickens and 2 lovely geese and 3 donkeys. And the donkeys need a carrot in the morning to say hello, and I check their grazing and check their water and stuff, and the chickens, you know, we get them up, and the geese, and it's just lovely. So I wandered down into the garden, and it was like a wonderland. It was transformed. It was just so beautiful. Autumn sunshine coming through the mist, just making it look so beautiful. And if you want to know what I saw, I did do some photography this morning, and I've put it over on my Substack. It's going to come out in this week's, I call it my musing. I call it, it's sort of a newsletter thing, but it's really a musing on my life here and about nature and reconnecting with nature, or just connecting with nature. I think we're always connected to it. If you're interested in that, that'll be coming out this weekend, and all you have to do is go to my Substack, which is linked below, and subscribe, or you can just pop over. I think you can just look at it. I'm not entirely sure, I tell you. I've only been on Substack for a few months, relatively speaking, since about April or May time, when I learned how to use it, and I still don't understand how it all works, but I do my best. So thank you. If you've already joined me there, thank you. Your subscriptions mean a great deal to me, and I'm so grateful to those of you who decided also to sign up for my videos, which I put over there. I do some make time arty sort of videos where I'm doing things like this and sketchbooks and all sorts of things, whatever comes to my mind to do. If you've seen any of my stitchy videos below, it's kind of like that, but there's really no stitching now because, as you will know if you've been here for a while, I've stopped being a textile artist, and I've got rid of all my fabrics, my yarns, my threads, well, I got rid of my spare sewing machine to a friend, and it's lovely because she paid me some money for it because it was a fairly new machine, not new but unused, I would say, and it was my spare one, and she gave me some money, and I've now used that money to buy me some swimming time at my local swimming pool in a local hotel. I've bought myself a membership, so I'm going to go swimming a lot this year, this winter, because now I've paid for it, I jolly well have to show up and do it. So there you go. So anyway, yes, so on my Substack, the other thing I do is my stitchy, not my stitchy videos anymore, but my sort of arty creative videos. And the idea is it's about making time, encouraging people to make time for themselves, a relaxing video that just gets you perhaps doing something you've never done before, or something you've always wanted to try, or just something fun to do. You know, if you're already a very creative person, you probably do lots of things yourself. It's just an opportunity to try something that I'm currently working on and doing. And it's lovely, I love it. I just love making those videos. I love making videos, full stop. It's something I've always wanted to do, I think, really, and now I've got this opportunity. YouTube allows me to put stuff up, and I just really appreciate that. So, what am I going to talk about today? Well, I don't know, all sorts of things have been happening this week. As I say, I was clearing out the rest of my stuff. I've made 2 big trips to the Oxfam shop in a nearby town with my work. So I had boxes and boxes of work that I hadn't managed to sell over the years. You know, you make stuff over a lot of years, you have a lot of stuff, and my selling had sort of diminished somewhat because over a number of years I didn't have a lot of energy to put into that side of things, but also I do think I was being guided just to do less of that and move into other things, which is what I've done. I've kind of followed the breadcrumbs, and this is where I am now. Goodness me. So anyway, I took my second load to Oxfam last week, and it took me all day to do this lot. The first lot was my materials, as I say, and the second lot was my some of my work, which I did in about 2 hours, and then the second lot I cleared out. It took me all day, and it was quite challenging because some of it, you know, I've made it. You know, when you make something, whether it's a meal or whether it's, you know, something beautiful, some piece of art, some piece of embroidery, a piece of woodwork that you do, I don't know, maybe something that you perhaps give as gifts to other people, or something that you sell. It's you making it, whether you're writing something or photographing something that you perhaps put into the world. It's all about you, because it's your creative thing. It's your baby, if you like. It's your thing that you've made. So some of them were harder to let go of than others, I would say. And I decided, as part of the process, I realised that actually I really needed to keep a few things for me to appreciate and enjoy. But by getting rid of the majority, I was able to remove the sense of overwhelm and sort of stuckness and kind of, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all of this stuff? That's kind of gone, and I was able to pull out a few key pieces and really appreciate them. And I'm going to put them on my wall. Some of them are going into my new little space that I'm creating, which is getting better and better. I'm nearly finished my painting. I've got a beautiful chair that I've just bought and set up in there. We were making that yesterday, and I'm so excited because I feel as though I've really created space for me. And I think that's what this process has been all about. It's been letting go what no longer was serving me, what no longer fitted me. It wasn't a match anymore, it wasn't meshing, it was missing. It was like, no, this isn't for me anymore. So I have created space by getting, I can't believe it, I was hoovering in my little room as I've been working around it doing the decorating. I did some hoovering, and there's actually floor space. I can see the carpet. So I've got this lovely chair in there now, and I'm practicing sitting in it because it's very comfortable, and I'm going to sit in there and just look at things, look at my lovely things, just appreciate things and spend time with myself doing nothing, maybe. All of these things. So yes, creating space has been a very important thing, and I thought what I'd do today is I'll show you some of the things that I decided to keep almost at the last minute, partly because they wouldn't take them at the charity shop. And I'll explain that as I show you what the pieces are. So I will show you a little film clip shortly that I'm going to make. I haven't made it yet. I'm about to make it. It's brewing. And it's been such an interesting process to rescue some things and maybe transform them again from what they were. So I will show you. You'll understand more when you see them. So the other beautiful thing was, one of my last things to let go of was my lovely dummy. I had a beautiful mannequin that I bought years ago in the our local auction rooms, and she's been a great friend. And what I did to make her more of a display thing for my art was I actually put cling film on her, and I covered her with I did a sort of papier-mâché, a flat papier-mâché, if you like, where you just stick the paper on, you know, you glue it and you stick it, and I painted that white. So she was like this white crisp dummy for years with various pieces of artwork on her, and I took that off, I unwrapped the cling film, and she was as good as new underneath. Although she's an old lady, my friend who I took her to was absolutely delighted. She has a sort of a shop where she does lots of making things, and people go and do sewing with her, and her friend works in there with her, and I sort of snuck it in. I said, would you like this? And her face lit up, absolutely lit up at the sight of this dummy. I had her in the back of my car before I took it in, actually. And her face lit up with joy, and she said, oh, I would just love that, thank you, you know. And she offered me some money. I said, no, please. I've known this lady a long time, very long time, and I love her to bits. And I just felt it was just this, me giving away this last piece of something that had been part of my life. I was giving it as a gift, and that felt lovely. And she's gone to be in this beautiful place with my friend, and she's going to be loved. And she's slightly rusty, she's slightly battered, she's pretty old. My friend reckoned that she's actually possibly an Edwardian piece, an Edwardian dummy from that sort of era. She's certainly an old one, and she's certainly got wear and tear, but she's been my friend, and now she's gone to somebody else who's going to love her. So I've been so blessed, I have to say, I've been so blessed with how I've been able to get rid of everything. You know, charity shops, thank you so much for being there. You've really helped me do this process. And any friends who've helped out by taking things, thank thank you, I'm so grateful. And if you give me money as well, that's, you know, that's lovely. But it was more about making sure things went to the right place and were given a home. So I think we'll stop here and I'll just show you the pieces that I've been talking about, and I'll give you a little chat about those. The pieces I'm going to just share with you now were all from a project that I did with my group Fabricate, and I think it was our very first exhibition actually, and my theme was objects of use, and I took things that had been thrown away, basically pieces of metal tools and things that had been thrown away and were not going to be of any use anymore, and I decided I would turn them into some art by restoring them, by working with them, by adding embroidery to them. So this was one of the pieces I did. This was hanging on a piece of rusty hooks, series of rusty hooks, and they were all words that I thought, you know, you could take an object and you could choose which word you were going to use, like revalue it. You know, how could you think about that object differently and reuse it or revalue it, remake it, you know, recycle it if necessary, but try not to put it in the bin. You know, try and think it has a value, it has something still to share with us, and, you know, what can you do with it? So these were two little pieces that I put up with the exhibition, and it was all about just giving people a little message, and perhaps people already know about Wabi Sabi, but it was all about taking a broken item, and some of the china that they do that's repaired, and people spend hours and hours repairing it, and then they repair it and put some gold on it and celebrate it. So nothing is broken too badly that can't be sort of carried on and used or celebrated or looked at, you know, going forward. And this one was just about what embroidery meant, was to ornament with needlework, to make splendid and to dignify, and I felt that was very important. I was taking these bits of junk and, you know, making them something lovely to look at again. I feel like I'm on some sort of time team kind of archaeological dig here, but this is a rake head that I found in a place of rusty stuff, a pile of rusty stuff, and I thought it was so beautiful. When you look at an object like this and you see this beautiful pattern going like that and these lovely lines coming out like that, only a mad artist like me could see that, obviously. Normal people will probably just go, oh, that's a load of junk, but I just saw this and I absolutely loved it, and I still love it. In fact, it's not going anywhere, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. So this, I'll show you the photograph of what it looked like. This is what it became, and I called it Raking It In because that was a funny title, and I just loved it. So this is going to stay with us, and we're going to use it as a rake because actually it's better made. If I turn it over, it's much better made than our current rake that we have. It's a bit of old tat. So this is going to stay with us. But look at this, look at the detail under here. The loveliness of those designs there. Somebody's really thought about how this rake was going to go together and made it so beautifully. And the rust, anybody who's into rust, hands up, all those who are into rust. Leave me a comment below if you're into rust. Look at that gorgeous rustiness. I just love it. And the light, in fact, I almost don't want to use it outside. I almost just want to hang it on the wall. But it was an object that really a charity shop couldn't take. So I'll show you what it is left. So I'll show you a piece of embroidery that I did that was done on soluble fabric. And it's really pretty. It's made with mixed orange and red threads. And then there was this funny little bit that went across, and each little piece of rust popped through there. And even the way I stitched it on the back, I really quite appreciate now, is how I stitched it together just like that across the back. So these, I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to these bits. This might just get recycled. I might fiddle around with it. I think this is really pretty. I'm not quite sure again what to do with this. It might become, I might turn it into a 3D thing. Even though I'm not doing textiles anymore, there might be a temptation just to do something with this because I think it's really pretty and really beautiful. What would you do with it? Let me know in the comments. So I'm going to put those over there to one side, and I'll bring in the next exhibit. So this piece was the back of my chair, and it's basically done, I think I did some organza and some soluble fabric, and somehow I think the soluble fabric kind of stiffened it. Not soluble fabric, soluble fabric, that sort of thing, that sort of leaves enough in it to make it stiff, and I think that worked quite well. There's some net there as well. If I look closely at it, there's some net as well. But again, I just love this, and I thought I'm not going to just get rid of that. I'm going to keep that. I might just put it as a piece on a backing on a piece of wood or something, a piece of white wood. I might just hang it somewhere so you can actually see the light coming through it. I don't know yet, but I just thought it's too nice to let go of. Part of the chair was this, which was really a piece of fun. So the chair, this piece, when it was a chair with this on and the back, was called Are You Sitting Comfortably? And it was kind of a joke because the whole thing was about upcycling and recycling and trying to make people think a little bit about what we do with things. You know, isn't it fun? So I think this could either be an executive toy that you sort of sit when you're feeling a bit, you know, stressed or something. You just sit and twang these. But I am also tempted to put it onto perhaps on a board, and I'll put it on the wall so it can hang the other way. But it's interesting. I think the whole thing that's interested me about doing this, taking them off the things that I put them onto in the first place, and looking at them with a different eye. So I'm seeing them differently, and I'm seeing possibilities that are different. And I just love this. I had so much fun making this. It's basically wire that I've covered with stitch and then these little circles. And, you know, isn't that fun? Wouldn't you like one of these in your house? So this was what went round the rusty old bucket that belonged to a friend of mine, and I said, it was going in the skip, and I said, oh, please can I have that? I can do that, something with that. So this was layers of organza and stitched, cut away, and when you sort of stitch a lot on the organza, you end up with some of it sticking up. If you're interested in the technical techniques of this piece, and I just think it's absolutely glorious. It's totally beautiful, wonderful colours. So I'm going to work on taking it apart and making it into a wall hanging in some way. I haven't quite worked out yet how that's going to happen or what's going to happen to it. The other bit is this, which was the handle. This went across the handle and filled in the gap, if you like, on the top of the handle. And again, it's just, I think I just stuffed it. I stitched the organza so that it went all bumpy, and then I turned it into this little piece here and glued it on. So I don't know what, again, this might become something, become part of this piece, I don't know. I think there's potential here, and as I say, I'm not doing textiles anymore, but I can't resist doing something with these so that I can keep them and look at them and enjoy them, because they are very beautiful, and I did spend a lot of time making them, so I really would like to look at them for a bit longer. So this is the last piece. This was a piece I called Squaring the Circle, and it was a big rusty piece of the last bit of a drum, you know, a big old steel drum. It was all that was left was the circle, and my challenge was to make a piece of art using that piece of rusty metal. And I made this big square, and I spent ages, I can't tell you how long this took to cut all these little holes out, but I loved the effect of it. I wanted it to look like a piece of rusty metal, a bit of something industrial, and I loved making it. It was so much fun to do. So I'll put it on here. I've got to stitch it down a little bit more. I've just got it sort of sellotaped on with double-sided sticky tape for now, and I'm going to stick it on so that I can hang it on the wall. I've put it on a canvas, I don't know if you can see that, and I'm really pleased with it. I'm so pleased that I've saved it and not let it go, because again, it was a piece that I spent a lot of time making, and I really like it. It's a kind of a timeless piece. It can go on forever. So that's going to stay like that, and I'm really chuffed. I'm going to hang that on the wall. So I hope you enjoyed that little bit of an insight into my mad world of art. I've done some fun things, I can tell you, over the years, especially when I was a student. When you were a student, you were just kind of free to do whatever you wanted. It was liberating. It didn't matter what you made because nobody was really going to buy it. And I think that's a lot of what it's about, is feeling free to do what you need to do what you want to do, the way you want to do it. I think that's all about making space, if you like it, physical space, yes, but also space for you to be who you need to be, whatever it is you're doing. So I'm so grateful. I feel in such a good place this week, and I hope you are too. It's been lovely having your company today, but I'll see you again next week, and we'll see what's going to happen in the meantime. I hope you have a really good week and enjoy the autumn if it's autumn where you are, or spring if it's where you are. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kind comments. Bye for now.